The topic is the Metropolitan Davidson County School District, and we're talking to the Director of Communications, Mr. COwnsby. And of course, Mr. Ornsby, before we had our second commercial break, we were talking about the spending issue dealing with the metropolitan school system. Let's talk about the new initiative that was recently taken by Director Wise in reference to. However, let's do it from his perspective.
Well, we mentioned going to the court with a plan, and that was a 5-year plan. We are currently in year 1, which is mainly designing buildings and getting land. Year 2 would start this fall. And what was presented to the board in the last couple of weeks was a plan to do what we could do this fall. That plan really has 3 goals. We talk about schools closer to home and making kids change schools fewer times. We've got some kids who change schools 4 or 5 times, and also offering some more choices, some more magnet schools, some more optional programs. So when you look at a situation like that, the first thing you say is, what can I do right now? What gets the most done first? Because in a lot of cases, if you talk about sending a child to school closer to home, we've been under this court order for so long that there may not be one closer to home. You know, and Antioch, again, is an example. Fast-growing area, and some of the kids from Antioch go to school downtown, and if they're going to go to school close to home, you need to build them one. So the plan that is before the board right now, and will probably get decided by the board, we're thinking March or April, is to do some redistricting this fall. Send as many kids to school closer to home, in this case mainly in the southwest and southeast part of the county. Now, the first thing any parent, and I'm one, asks about schools is, what's this mean for my kids? So I want to give an example, and the example is going to be my son. He's in 3rd grade. He's in 3rd grade at Harpeth Valley, which is in the far southwest part of the county off Highway 100, and we live about 2 or 3 miles from school. Under the plan, the way we've been running it, he would have to get on the bus in front of the house, 6:45 in the morning, ride the bus an hour and 15 minutes to Head Middle School for 5th and 6th grade, and then come back to Bellevue Middle School for 7th and 8th grade, which again is a couple miles from the house. Not a thing wrong with Head Middle School. Wonderful school, great teachers, but it's an hour and 15 minutes away on the bus. Now, if the board approves Dr. Wise's suggested plan for this fall, what would happen is he'd go to school K through 4 at Harpeth Valley, 5 through 8 at Bellevue near the house, and 9 through 12 at Hillwood.
All within the same district.
Nearest elementary, nearest middle, nearest high school. And when we get this 5-year plan phased in, 94% of the kids in grades 8 and below are going to go to school within 5 miles of the house. So you've already plotted that out in terms of the number of years? Yeah, and I've got some, some maps here for specific examples, but right now we're looking at getting the most done that we can do this fall, because it takes, if you own a piece of land, it takes 2 years to put up school. And, out in the southeast part of the county where you can't put in a tomato plant without hitting rock, sometimes it takes a little longer. But we're looking now at changing as much as we can, as soon as we can, and getting those buildings up while that's going on.
So in a real sense, this plan has built within it a sort of a 5-year completion kind of deal, that in the end, by that time, busing, as we know, busing itself will have come to an end. Is that what we're...
Busing, as you know, sending your kids clear across the county because the court told you to, over with.
Well, now, what about the duration of the school year? I think that there has been some suggestion that soon that students will attend school year-round in some areas. Talk about that, because I think that
there has been some discussion of that. It's something that Murfreesboro City is trying in a couple schools. It's something that Dixon County is trying in one school. The thing that we want to do, if we go to year-round school, is not just to reshuffle the days we have. Dixon County's plan, I think, is 9 weeks on and 4 off, but it's the same number of days. What we want to do is add days, particularly for the kids who need that extra time the most. There's a project called Project Starfish that we ran in some inner-city schools last summer, about 400 kids, I think. Took children who were in danger of failing in the primary grades, which is when it's most important. You have to get them early. Took kids who were in danger of failing in the primary grades, put them in a kind of a part play, part school program through the summer, and almost to a child, those kids did much better and were no longer in danger of failing. You can tell if a child's going to drop out of school, usually about 3rd grade, because if a child doesn't read and read well, by the time they get out of the 3rd grade, well, they get to the 4th grade and they fall behind. They get to 5th grade and fall behind some more, and then they're a 17-year-old 9th grader and they say, enough of this, I quit.
And so all of these things are designed in a real sense to deal with that attrition, that tremendous attrition. What is the attrition rate, Mr. Ornsby, in terms of the completion of high school in the Davidson County system?
We are just recently getting figures that we think are reliable on that, because our record keeping hasn't been very good. In a lot of cases, we'll have a child who will transfer from one school to another. His records won't make it. The first school counts him as a dropout, that kind of thing. We're thinking of the number of kids that start 9th grade and the number of kids who finish 12th grade. Yeah, we lose about 20–25%
about 20. Okay,
yeah,
so
way too many.
Yeah, so
way too many.
So we graduate about 3 out of 4. I mean, we moved 3 out of 4. I mean, it's 3 out of 4 of them through the system. Is that what we're saying? Approximately a quarter.
That's our estimate right now. What we have to do really before we truly understand that is with good, accurate record keeping, take this bunch of kids in kindergarten and 13 years later see how many of them come out the other end. And we're only about 3 years into that.
Very good. And of course, Mr. Ormsby, we're coming to the end of this show for today. And let me thank you for coming by and giving us that excellent information about the system itself, and for representing Director Brooks. Director. Why is it that I continue to refer to Dr. Wise as Director Brooks?
Well, you've been in town a little longer than I have.
When I first met him, I think he was associated with Dr. Brooks. And of course, we certainly appreciate you bringing that information to us from Director Wise and the school system itself.
Well, we appreciate the chance to do that.
Very good. And let us encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.